Let me bring you up to speed on those headlines. The president holding a meeting here at the White House designed to reassure ag state senators and political leaders that he has their back in terms of a potential trade war, signaling that he would have a package of aid for the agriculture sector if, in fact, the Chinese tariffs on U.S. ag were put in place. But the headline that got everyone's attention was when Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska, a Republican, came out after the meeting talking to reporters and then said this.
Definitely the big headline coming out of this meeting is that the president said he was deputizing Larry Kudlow and Ambassador Lighthizer to look at re-entering the TPP negotiations.
So Senator Sasse there says that the president is looking into beginning those TPP negotiations again. Remember, that's the Trans-Pacific Partnership that the president campaigned against back in 2016, got the United States out of the TPP in 2017, but the TPP went forward anyway, with Japan and Australia really taking the lead on that. The president had suggested he'd be open to getting into a revamped TPP on his own terms as early as January of this year, but now signaling that he's looking at it because it would benefit U.S. agriculture producers. Larry Kudlow has also talked about a trade coalition of the willing getting involved to kind of offset Chinese might industrially. And to a lot of people who are critics of the president's industrial policy, that sounds a lot like the TPP was supposed to be, to offset Chinese power. So that's going on trade. Also going on trade is NAFTA. The president gave us an indication of his thinking in that meeting just a few moments ago. Here's what he said.
I keep hearing how we're pushing NAFTA, we want it done. There's no timeline. There's no timeline. Now, in the meantime, nobody's moving into Mexico, because as long as NAFTA is in flux, no company is going to spend $1 billion to build an automobile plant. So I say this, I've told it to the Mexicans, we can negotiate forever, because as long as we have this negotiation going, nobody's going to build billion-dollar plants in Mexico.
So, guys, that's a really key element of the president's thinking here. He believes, and you just heard him say, that as long as those negotiations over NAFTA are ongoing, U.S. companies are not going to move plants to Mexico because the uncertainty around the negotiations means it might not be profitable. So for the president, it's fine to have those negotiations drag on pretty much indefinitely because that means that jobs are not going to Mexico in the meantime. So that's an interesting look into the way he's approaching this, guys.
Yeah, he thinks it gives him leverage, Eamon. And I wonder, when you bring up TPP and Larry Kudlow, if finally somebody's been able to convince the president that TPP could actually be a geopolitical tool, has often been suggested, against China, and maybe that's why he's finally come around on that.
Well, that's what the Obama administration said about TPP, is that we need a benchmark to use against China, or a bulwark to use against China in terms of the Chinese economic rise. But the president didn't believe that on the campaign trail. He said TPP would be bad for American jobs, would cause jobs to move to those countries in Asia, and that's why he got out of it. But maybe his thinking has begun to change here.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.